This episode of Wookiees on X-Wing is brought to you in part by MetaGameZ, Atlantic Canada's newest gaming and tournament center.
You can check it out at MetaGameZ.com. That's MetaGames with a Z.com.
Long live MetaGameZ! Welcome back to Wookiees on X-Wing. I'm John.
And I'm Matt.
And today we have two returning players. We have Sylvain flying the Space Cow Swarm, that is an Omnicron group pilot with a fire control systems and Darth Vader. Another Omnicron group pilot with fire control systems and a rebel captive. And Captain Yorr, that is the pilot that can absorb stress off of other nearby ships. He's flying with the fire control systems and Emperor Palpatine. On top of which we have Wampa, the TIE fighter that is able to just negate his attacks provided there's a crit somewhere in there and just hand out a face down damage card. Now, what does Shane have for us today?
Well, Shane is running, he's actually running only two ships. They're both fairly heavy. So we've got Miranda in her K-Wing with proximity mines, twin laser turret, Recon specialist, and she's got the slam upgrade for her engines there. And then we've got Dash Rendar in his YT-2400 with Kyle Katarn flying as his crewman, the push the limit pilot skill, engine upgrade, the Outrider title, and a heavy laser cannon for a Donut of Doom.
Donut of Doom, indeed. And of course here, when we compare what we've seen in previous videos with this style of Dash Rendar, we know how effective it is, especially with Kyle Katarn, engine upgrade, push the limit, that kind of thing. Miranda, something that we don't get to see a whole lot of on Wookiees on X-Wing. We're used to seeing Tukatu, however how you pronounce that K-Wing pilot. But here we have Miranda, who is very, very good at attrition because of how her pilot ability works, being able to either spend a shield to do more damage or get a shield back, and then with the twin laser turret on top of that, it's just all gravy, that nice little bit of combination, that internal synergy. So both of these ships, really great on the internal synergy. They're not really offering a whole lot to each other. However, the Recon Specialist on Miranda is also absolutely gorgeous. Then we have Sylvain, which is a mind-bogglingly effective Imperial squadron. I'm very interested to see how it deals with something like Dash, which is very, very finicky, very, very evasive, and can really rip apart these ships. So that's really going to be where I'm interested in how Sylvain is going to be approaching this situation. It looks like he's taken that sort of style that we've seen in the previous video to heart, where the two major Omnicron group pilots are going to engage with Captain Yorr and Emperor Palpatine playing it very, very slow.
Yeah, it definitely wants to keep the Emperor back as long as possible and try to actually, feed the rebel captive forward, make it the inviting target, try to force Shane to shoot at it. Now, with the heavy laser cannon on Dash, he really doesn't care what range he shoots at. As we've seen, he really wants to be at range 3 and just kind of fly by. But the thing with that Outrider staying at range 3 is it actually gives these shuttles the room to maneuver that they need.
Yeah, whereas they're not getting necessarily the bonus defense dice. As you said, they have the extra room, which is something that is really to the advantage of Sylvain here. On top of which we have the Rebel Captive, as you mentioned, throwing it forward, being very inviting with it. But as we saw with our last video, there is no right answer on how to deal with the Rebel Captive. Do you stress yourself out early in the game, especially when you have a very small squadron like Shane has, and really pay for it early on? Or do you let that Rebel Captive be the end piece, the end game fighter, or ship I should say, it's not a fighter, and then just really, really make it difficult if you're playing a one-on-one battle?
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of a catch-22 in either situation there. Now, we do see a lot more asteroids on this board than we saw in Sylvain's last game here. Now, it's fairly clustered into the center, though, so that should prove to be maybe a little awkward for Sylvain to maneuver around. Not so much for Dash, and with the K-Wing, with that advanced slam there, it's got quite a surprising turn of speed if it wants to.
Yes, and so it's just absolutely gorgeous what Shane's squadron is able to accomplish, considering it's only a 2-squadron ship. And for those of you who had been wondering what I was talking about with the internal synergy with Miranda and the twin laser turret, well, Miranda's pilot ability is, once per round, when attacking, you may either spend 1 shield to roll 1 additional attack die, or roll 1 fewer attack die to recover 1 shield. And with the FAQ on twin laser turrets, it says specifically, if Miranda performs multiple attacks, such as using a twin laser turret or cluster missiles, she may use her ability on the first, or may choose to resolve the first attack normally and have the opportunity to use her ability during the second attack. And that's as of 3/15/2016.
Yeah, it's a nice ability. It's good that it doesn't completely... Well, the recovering shield doesn't completely penalize you for multiple attacks.
Yeah.
It's nice. I mean, I'm a fan of the K-Wing. I like that ship a lot. The thing's bloody enormous, though.
Oh, yeah. It's kind of funny that we have no medium-sized base. I understand that the metrics of the game doesn't allow it, but there's so many ships that really belong on a medium-sized base. You know, I think that the IG-2000, the K-Wing, those are really good examples.
Well, the K-Wing's almost as big as the IG.
Yeah,
the TIE Punisher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, here we go. So we've got Sylvain is flying around. He's banking his... Well, I hesitate to call it a squadron, but that's kind of what it is. A squadron of shuttles around this this first asteroid here. Trying to set up some nice kill shots. Maybe force Shane to deal with the rebel captive. It's like, hey, shoot me, or I'm just going to keep shooting you. And the nice thing with the shuttle, especially Captain Yorr, being around, is one of those shuttles can just sit there, zero maneuver for as long as he wants, and Captain Yorr's just going to keep soaking that focus up, or soaking that stress up.
Absolutely. On top of which, you know, Yorr could be doing something like a green maneuver that would knock him into another ship to to reduce that stress as well. So you can really play around with just how effective these shuttles can work together, and it's a little silly. On top of which, and it was one thing that we really have just sort of glossed over as this match has been opening, is the hidden gem in the squadron, for the Imperials that is, Wampa. Wampa with Emperor Palpatine, absolutely gross. His ability to just throw attack dice, and then if he doesn't get a crit, Emperor Palpatine can be like, hey, you, that attack dice, it's a crit now, and then you can negate it and start dealing damage. It's very, very powerful, and it's one of the reasons that I think Shane here is going to be going after Wampa probably first.
Well, and especially with you know, they're only shuttles. You're less focused on their defensive abilities. They have the fire control system, so you're not quite as worried about the offensive.
Yeah.
So really, Palpatine is there to really turn Wampa on and keep him alive as long as possible.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you know, if Wampa manages to roll his attack dice and get a crit without Emperor Palpatine's help, well, that's just great. That means
that's
you can
even better.
Yeah, exactly. You can use it for something else. So it's just really, really nice.
So there's Miranda. She looks like opening fire at the lead shuttle. So there is the twin laser turret coming out. Let's see what she can do. And that's... so through an asteroid.
Yeah, it's through some obstructions here. Not getting some opening hits and so far. Let's see how the second volley goes, and it looks like I think 1 point of damage gets through.
Yep, there's a shield, so we've got one going through from the laser turret. Not bad opening. Now let's see what Dash can do. He gets his shot.
Heavy laser cannon glory. 4 attack dice going out. Looks like he's going to spend his target lock. And the beautiful thing here with the target lock with a heavy laser cannon is that the heavy laser cannon's ability only to turn crits into hits only is on the first application of dice rolling. So as soon as you roll your dice, you get a couple crits. That sucks. You have to turn those to hits. But afterwards, any kind of dice modification like marksmanship, like re-rolls, anything like that, you can then turn your hits into crits, which is just groovy when you have something like a heavy laser cannon and target lock.
And there's focus spent off that lead shuttle, and unfortunately that shuttle did have 4 of its shields blown away this round, so decent opening salvo, but not at all unexpected.
No. Dash is going to be the real big enemy for these shuttles.
He is, but if Shane does get exactly that same result next turn, that shuttle's still alive. He's only done 4 points of damage to it.
Yeah. I think the real problem here with the shuttles is being able to pin down Dash.
Yes, it's going to be difficult. Dash is really going to be in his element in amongst those obstructions because his heavy laser cannon doesn't really care about giving the one extra defense dice
Yeah.
to a shuttle. It's like, that's nice. That's cute.
I think what's going to happen in the next couple of turns is you're going to really see Wampa playing probably very aggressively, but not too aggressively as to be singled out completely.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is, as long as these shuttles are kind of like target priority, Wampa can have a little bit of free reign, but he doesn't want to be focused out. He doesn't want to make himself the only target or the best target. So he's going to play a little bit more aggressively than he is right now in order to start dealing the damage.
Yeah.
And Miranda is in a really good spot because, I think, because of course you have the slam in order to get out of dodge in a hurry, but with the TLT against these things like shuttles, you can easily play the attrition and start getting your shields back because you're not overly concerned about getting about getting 3 attack dice in order to hit, because if you just hit with 2 attack dice, you're landing a hit.
Yeah, as long as you're not shooting through obstruction, you land both those hits. It doesn't matter what a shuttle rolls; it's still taking a point of damage. And so there is Yorr. He's gonna have to be really careful with that asteroid.
It looks like he might be on it.
No,
it's hard to tell.
His own shuttle. It looks like his own shuttle corner clipped him before he was able to lock those rear guides into his maneuver template.
Very nice.
So nice bit of clutch bit of body blocking there. You have to doing our very very nicely done backtracking. I really, if anything, I'm really impressed with Sylvain here. He plays that very well.
Well, Sylvain is one of the Moncton crowd that we sort of introduced in the vlog video that I had for the UNB Bookstore 2016 store championship. And so I was really impressed with the Moncton crowd that came in. They were high energy. They were here to play games. They were really nice, good sportsmanship, the whole lot of them. And they played on a technical level that I was really impressed with as well. And you can see here, Sylvain, in this video and the previous video that we've had on Wookiees on X-Wing, he has studied his squadron. He has made it his own. And that is something that I can appreciate.
It's very refreshing, and it's quite a novel squadron. I'm just continuously impressed by it.
The funny thing is that way back in the day, when the shuttles first came out, we had a friend of ours who I want to buy 4 shuttles and try to make it work. And he tried, and he beat his head against that wall for a while. And now, 3 or 4 waves later, we see this squadron, and it's working very, very well.
Yeah, it's amusing. It's funny, but I really enjoy it. And so here we've got Dash just keeping his distance, staying at range 3. Really wants to put his heavy laser cannon to use here.
He's not looking like he's keeping his distance, but he's keeping his distance.
Yeah, he's and an intriguing barrel roll. Perhaps to clear that asteroid, remove any additional damage dice or additional defense dice he may be granting his opponent.
Yeah. With the additional defense dice, you're giving the shuttles a better chance of using Palpatine and completely negating attacks. It's something you really don't want to get into. So I can definitely understand why Spinny would be doing that now.
Yeah. And let's see where Miranda's going. Very likely just continuing to mosey forward. She wants to keep her TLT in play there.
Yeah, as long as you're outside of range 1. I mean, range 3 is another place where the TLT wants to be.
For sure. Definitely. So she's going to be...
Here we go, moseying on forward.
Nice, too.
In a good spot. Definitely, if for focus firing that far, the Darth Vader shuttle, that's in a really good place to be.
For sure.
And you're still getting... It looks like getting some obstruction from the Rebel Captive shuttle, and definitely some obstruction from Captain Yorr's shuttle.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. That's going to be a 3 defense dice K-Wing, which is...
confusing and awesome.
Yes. It is. It's like, when a B-Wing or heaven forbid a Falcon has 3 defense dice.
Yes.
And so here's Miranda and her TLT just putting shots out. That looked like 3 hits, so that is a point of damage regardless of any other factors.
And 3 blanks on the second round.
So you win some, you lose some. And now we've got Dash opening up. Now unless he gets a critted direct hit, he can't outright kill this shuttle. But he can hurt it.
Yeah, it looks like he spent the focus.
And that looks like a successful evade, so there is 3 points of damage through.
No crits, as there was no rerolls happening.
So that shuttle gets 1 more turn of life.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I don't know if that particular shuttle is going to be using that ability, but Darth Vader is kind of in a tough spot.
Do I blow myself up?
And to be honest, I would say no. And the reason why I say no is because just by being alive, it means that in order to kill that shuttle, you have to spend
at least 1 ship's actions to do it.
And when you only have 2 ships, that's a huge deal.
It is. So here's Wampa, and it looks like Sylvain is simply Palpatining this, saying, all right, I'm just going to cancel my result and deal you the damage card. And that is such a nasty ability, just being able to completely bypass shields there.
Yeah, Wampa is one of my favorite TIE fighters that came out in the new assault carrier, the Imperial Assault Carrier.
Oh, they were checking ranges there. All right. So no damage card out. That's unusual. Oh, Miranda is getting focused. Lots of damage. So there we go. She's well, the nice thing about the K-Wing, it's a very beefy fighter. But like a shuttle, it doesn't do getting focused well. All right, so and oh, there is a direct hit coming out from one of the shuttles. Very nice crit. That is a lovely crit to get on a K-Wing.
Oh, yeah. Those K-Wings are very, very beefy. So to have a double tap like that is just so nice.
And we've got the final shuttle coming out, and it looks... And Sylvain is very wisely just focusing his fire onto Miranda. Just trying to burn her down. Another couple points of damage there. And shoots her out of the sky. There she goes.
We've seen just how powerful the shuttles are when it comes to just focus firing, and especially with Wampa doing the attack, it's just very, very potent. So yeah. I'm very impressed with what's happening right now.
Yeah. Now he does have a dash to chase down and try to pin down, but hopefully, as long as Wampa stays alive, he can kill him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Without too much difficulty.
On top of which, Wampa is a very, very slippery fiend, so, and Dash has to fire first, so Wampa and Palpatine can team up to play a very defensive game, and then if Dash does not fire at Wampa, then Wampa is safe to just blast with the Palpatine shot.
Yeah, for sure. And so nice, I like Sylvain's choice here of using 3 debris clouds as his 3 obstructions. His squadron here really, really does not want asteroids.
Oh, no.
Doesn't want to land on them, doesn't want to run through them. Nothing to do with them.
No. And especially since, you might get a crit. Crits suck. But they have enough shields that the chances of them getting that crit are fairly low. And then if they get the crit, it hits off shields rather than hull. Mm-hmm. And then what's really funny is it's an attack dice that's being rolled. He can Palpatine that. So if he really wants to, he can just completely negate those crits. And with the stress that's coming from the debris clouds, Captain Yorr is perfect to just absorb that.
Yeah, you don't care about that. A lot of these debris clouds are. I think one of them's an exploded TIE fighter. So like you don't care about that former TIE fighter. No, just run through it. Go for it.
The Space Cow Stampede.
Yep. And Captain Yorr, he is, again, keeping his distance. Might as well acquire your target lock. Or you pretty good guess Dash is going to be well out of range of you. And might as well save it for later in the game. If you happen to get a shot.
Yeah, it's all about the long game. Anybody who plays Star Wars Armada probably would be, especially if they played the Imperial side, would recognize the style of play that Sylvain has to go with. I'm really, really impressed with the sort of forethinking and forward planning that you have to do. And it's not something you normally see because when it comes to X-Wing, it's very reactionary, or not necessarily always reactionary, but it can be a very just instinct game.
Yeah, you don't have to think quite as many turns in advance.
But you really do with the shuttles.
Yeah. And you have to know your opponent's ships, what they're capable of, how they can maneuver, and you kind of have to guess, well, where are they going to end up? With Dash, it's, at least with the heavy laser cannon, you got a pretty good idea of what he's doing. He's going to strafe you. He doesn't want to be in range 1. It's like, all right, where is the possible positions he can end up? Let's focus on blocking those off.
What I'm interested in right now is why Dash decided to go towards the closest board edge rather than the further away one. It seems like he's boxed himself in a little bit, but it might have bought him a couple of rounds because of how the shuttles were going to come and kill box him.
It's quite possible. Oh, and he has shot Vader out of the sky.
All right. Now he's given himself a lot more clearance.
Yeah, so probably a nice hard turn towards the upper board edge. We may see our engine upgrade in use next round. Just rip a boost right up through, get as far away as he possibly can, and get behind those shuttles, force them to turn around.
It's still going to be difficult to get some movement here, or inertia, because of where the board edge is. His action is pretty much, or his maneuver is pretty much locked into one hard maneuver.
Yeah, and there is 4 defense dice for range 3 through a asteroid. Get our fire control system.
Yeah, the target is locked. Those fire control systems are going to become really handy this game because there's only one ship. As soon as you get a target lock on there, it's groovy. And if you're spending that target lock, you're getting it right back.
Now, it's going to be interesting what Sylvain does with Wampa in this turn here. Wampa, if he manages to get into range 1 of Dash, Shane's gonna have some trouble with him. He does have the engine upgrade, which can really help mitigate that positioning, but it's definitely you don't want that TIE fighter sitting there.
Yeah, I wouldn't be... Okay, so it looks like Wampa's being very, very defensive right now. He's playing more of an escort role rather than a interceptor role, which is smart because that's what Wampa's there for.
Yeah, he doesn't... It makes sense. He doesn't want to go in all guns blazing. He would probably be the only ship that would be running at Dash here. Definitely don't want to make yourself an easy target of opportunity. And so Sylvain, I like what he's doing here. Branching both the shuttles off, turning them in opposite directions to get them both headed around and try to head off Dash.
Yeah, it looks like, well, Dash is going to be moving a little slowly this round. Obviously, Captain...
Yeah. Very close there.
Yeah, that could have been a very short game.
That could have been an abrupt end. And a very sticky one. Though, he will either have to barrel roll to clear that board edge, turn, but there's the barrel roll, so...
No. Yeah, keep in mind that next turn he does have the angle to really get off of that board edge, even if his maneuver dial... Or even if his maneuver template did go off of the board, it would still be fine, provided his base landed on the board.
So that was a very close maneuver. But
oh yeah,
hopefully that risk pays off, and it did. It does land him in a nice position to get some shots into the rebel captive. Now this is, well, this may be his last turn with actions for a while, unless he limits himself to green maneuvers.
Well, he'll always get Provided he does green maneuvers, he will get actions from Kyle Katarn. He'll get the focus tokens, but for the most part, he'll be stressed, so he won't be able to do much else.
Yeah, it's again one of those interesting catch-22s. This list kind of forces you into of, do you stick with green maneuvers and be somewhat predictable, or do you just accept you don't have actions and try to make the most of that?
Yeah. And the tricky thing is, what's frustrating, as much as Kyle Katarn is great, Kyle Katarn gives you, and this is a blessing as well as a curse, he gives you a focus token. He assigns a focus token to you. You don't perform a focus action, so you don't perform a focus free action, so you don't get to worry about whether or not you're stressed. However, you can't push off of it.
And so there is our rebel captive. Just, nope, I don't like that heavy laser cannon. Get me out of here. And Wampa again playing a little bit of keep away with Dash here. It's very smart. Really like it's a big mistake that a lot of newer players will make, is just feeding their ships piecemeal into their opponent's final ship, or anyone, but just like trickling them in, and that especially these heavier ships with lots of firepower, they'll just blast them away.
This is something that we've talked about a whole lot of on Wookiees on X-Wing, and that's disengaging, and it looks like Sylvain's really taken that to heart. So I hope it works out for him, because, I mean, it means that his TIE fighter isn't just going to blow up in one shot.
Well, it definitely seems like it's a very valid strategy. With 3 shuttles, you have to know when to disengage. You have to know, when to push the envelope. You also really have to know how to turn these things around and anticipate where your opponent's going to end up by the time you're turned around, so that you don't end up with a shuttle way out in left field and absolutely useless for half the game.
Yeah.
So very like Shane, he's barrel rolling in to try to either catch the captive that he had previously been shooting at, or possibly catch Wampa.
I think he's going to try to go for Wampa. The captive really doesn't win him any favors right now.
Definitely not. Or maybe even push the envelope and try to kill Palpatine.
Oh yeah, that would be a very smart play. Palpatine definitely adds a lot of synergy to the squadron, so going after Palpatine makes a lot of sense. But looks like he's going to be going after Wampa.
Yep, and that did not look like he was quite in range there. So some very very nice maneuvering from Shane, but just fell short. Remove our tokens, replace our dials. Now, it's going to be interesting to see Dash he's in a nice spot behind Palpatine here. He doesn't have to worry about getting shot at by a shuttle.
No.
Palpatine is, well, he's got a stress. Captain Yorr has a stress here. He can't do a too hard turn. He really doesn't have a lot of ways to get himself turned around.
Well, I mean, there's a lot that he can still do. Because he doesn't have a stress, he obviously can do some hard turns. What I think that Yorr is going to be doing is just playing defensively still, and let the rebel captive take the field, as it were.
Yeah. And so here you go. So rebel captive pushing that shuttle just as hard over as it can get. Our red 2-turn. Just that is such a bummer of a maneuver.
No kidding. And then he's checking to see if Yorr was in range to steal that stress from him, and unfortunately not.
Then Wampa, see what Wampa does. He's probably still... Oh, so he is going to be playing fairly aggressive here. Really looking to punish Dash if he decides to go after Palpatine.
Yeah, well, Wampa has the flexibility right now of trying to get into Dash's range 1 band, depending on where Dash goes.
Yeah, it's a nice it's a very nice foil of, yeah, you can come after Palpatine, but you're going to get close to me, and that's not where you want to be right now.
No. And the safest place for Wampa to be is within range 1. It's harder to get because he has a low pilot skill, so you can't do any of the barrel roll shenanigans, but Dash can. So Dash knows where Wampa is. If he wants to, he can do some barrel rolling. I don't know if he's going to. It's hard to tell right now. It doesn't look like he needs to anyway.
Yeah. And so,
but by not barrel rolling, he's also, but Wampa is literally controlling where Dash is going.
Yeah. So you had to be, again, be extra careful of, with that asteroid, you don't want to move the obstacle while aligning your ship to your maneuver template. It looks like Dash is going to barrel roll to continue to keep up the distance and try to keep his nice position behind Palpatine and possibly just overshoot where Wampa is next turn.
I'm curious to see if Sylvain evaded or focused with Wampa. I would have evaded. I think he did as well.
With Palpatine, yes, for sure. Because you have a decent potential to mitigate 3 or 4 damage there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, even if he gets a full 4 salvo and Wampa rolls all blanks, Wampa's still not dying.
Yeah, because Palpatine says...
If he has an evade and then Palpatine, yeah.
Yeah, Palpatine says, no, you take 2. And that is not a full salvo, but he is... he's focusing on Palpatine. He wants to kill that dice modification engine there. And so Palpatine has a focus, spends his focus, takes a couple points. So there's some shields gone. And good action for that shuttle to take. And here is Wampa. There's really not a heck of a lot of reason to, not use Palpatine. And now, now this set, Wampa is deal a damage card.
It deal 1 face down damage card.
Yeah, and when you deal a damage card, that is something that will bypass your shields.
Yeah, and what's really nice about Wampa, and this has been corrected in the FAQ, is that the card text originally had said, when attacking, you may cancel all dice results. If you cancel a crit result, you deal 1 face down damage card to the defender. It's been corrected to be, when attacking, at the start of the compare results step, you may cancel all dice results, and then yada, yada, yada. Yeah. So what's really nice about it is originally it might seem like it would be at the attacker modify step is when you would modify the dice. Instead, it's at the compare results step. So you may roll your attack dice, you may get 2 hits or a hit and a crit, and then if they roll all blanks, you can then choose to say, okay, I will then give you a face down damage card.
Yeah, and this
is very, very potent.
And this is exactly why Shane needs to kill Wampa or Palpatine very soon, because as we saw, there's that damage card completely bypassing the shield.
Yes, and yeah, Dash is in a really tough spot already.
And here, so in Wampa, he's gonna be out of the game for a turn. Not the worst thing for a TIE fighter.
No, it's really good because he's really, really punishing Shane for playing the way that he has and getting so close into the fray. So Wampa now has the ability to body block a bit.
Oh, it's a great position. It looks like he may have done that. It's going to depend on where Dash is going, and it looks like Sylvain did anticipate the slow play here, using Wampa to block Dash in. So they're going to just completely confirm if Dash would be able to land this. This is going to be some really fine measurements here. But my initial guess says no, and it looks like the final verdict is Wampa's in the right spot.
Yeah, Wampa's right where he wants to be, so...
I mean, even if Dash had cleared that, Wampa wasn't getting shot. But because Dash didn't, he's in fire arc of 2 shuttles. with no action.
Oh, yeah.
And both shuttles are target locked.
Well, he will get his focus action from Kyle Katarn.
He does get his focus for the focus assignment from Kyle, which is quite nice.
But he gets one free action, or one free token, rather than
Three actions.
Three actions.
Yeah, and he does get to shoot at first. However, Palpatine is as yet unmolested, and that looked like the rebel captive was out of range, unfortunately. But Palpatine, he doesn't have any hull damage. Dash can't kill him in one salvo.
Yeah.
And it looked like he
I think he just completely
failed to damage. There was at least one focus result there. However, he's definitely saving this for the return shot. So there's a nice use of Wampa. I really like that. That was well played, and a very nice, as we talked about reading your opponent, reading their maneuvers, what do they tend to do? How does the enemy ships tend to play?
Yeah, well, this is, again, 2 weeks in a row, Sylvain has completely controlled the board with whatever...
With shuttles.
With shuttles and Wampa. So,
Yeah,
I'm very impressed.
So there was a couple points of damage through. There's a couple shields gone from the Palp shuttle here. So nice use, and this...
The Omnicron's getting into a good position, so...
Yep, the captive shuttle he's back in. He was just a hair out of range last round, but he's in a nice spot here. It's gonna be hard for Dash to clear that fire arc.
No, yeah. Especially with Wampa still in the way. But, well, he's going to be moving, obviously, and we'll see where he moves to.
That looks like a 3K turn. My guess says that's a 3K turn. Not a bad maneuver. The other possibility would have been, turn, get an asteroid between you and Dash to, just like, hey, try to shoot me. You're probably not going to hit.
I was thinking maybe a one hard turn is something that I'd like to do to continue being a body blocker, but...
It looks like he's got him around to really continue to be that critical threat.
Yeah.
Or the crit cancel threat, as it were. And so here's your removing a stress, gaining a stress from the debris. No damage taken. Unlikely to get a shot into Dash, but it really depends on where he goes.
I think Dash is going to... Yeah, here we go. We have him bank, obviously not caring about asteroids. He's in a really tight spot in order to actually get some shots off. The kill box seems to be really working.
Yeah, it is a nice... and he may well be in range 1 of Palpatine here. So it's... Does he want to blow an action to barrel roll out of range 1? It's going to be close.
Looks like he's trying, yeah.
He's definitely barrel rolling out. Now he's going to be staying at range 1 of the rebel captives, so that's going to be probably a pretty good wallop he's taking from that. He's still in fire arc. He may be in fire arc of Wampa. That's going to be close.
Yeah, that's
going to be a really tight line.
What's really dangerous for Dash next turn, though, thinking about the future, because when you have to do that when you are playing something like Dash, that shuttle quite possibly will do a 0 maneuver next turn.
And that's really going to lock you down hard.
Yeah.
And honestly, with how Sylvain has played, I would completely expect a 0 maneuver from that shuttle next turn. And that will really severely limit where Dash can go.
Yeah.
And I don't think it'll force him off the board, but it may well, depending on the maneuver.
Yeah, exactly.
And so here's Dash. He is just going hell-bent for leather. He wants to kill Palpatine. And so we have our modification from the initial crit. 3 potentials. There is and there is... So some damage, and oh man, Palpatine is...
Looks like he's still in the game.
He's doing well. He is not taking hull damage yet.
No.
He's doing quite well. So here is Wampa, and Palpatining that dice, making Shane try to evade, and he has evaded both of them.
So he'll just say, you take a damage card.
Yep. So canceling all dice.
I don't know if... Here we go.
Yep. There it is. And that's just...
The flexibility of Wampa is absolutely gorgeous.
Well, just the ability to really say, oh, I got a crit. I damage you. Period.
Yeah.
Like, that is such a back-breaking ability. And
Oh, yeah.
then we'll have our 4 dice, target-locked, focused shuttle.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Let's see how it works.
He's not Palpatine, but, I mean, Wampa is the use for Palpatine here. This could tickle. Oh, there's a couple blanks. So here is our reroll, and rerolled into blanks. However, focus. So 2 versus 2. Let's see what Dash says. Dash says he takes his last shield. So not a happy camper.
No, Dash at this point is worth half of his points. That rebel captive has been damaged a little bit, I believe, but he hasn't been damaged that much. Wampa's still on the board, so
Wampa's still completely fresh here.
Oh yeah, and obviously he's a small ship, so he doesn't really care about giving away half points.
No, not at all.
Sylvain's a really good place. Like at the moment, he could just take the game. So let's see how he plays. If he's going to continue being the cold, calculating.
Yeah, I am really yes. There it is. We knew it was happening. There's that zero maneuver. Now, he's deciding if he wants to hyper-stress Yorr here, by the looks of it.
Well, can he? That's the real question. Yorr has a stipulation in his card where he can only absorb so much stress. So when another friendly ship at range 1 to 2 would receive a stress if you have 2 or fewer stress.
So he has 2. But it looks like he did opt to leave the stress on his generic Omnicron. Wants to relax the Emperor a little bit.
Yeah.
Nice easy bank, and use it. And we'll have Wampa come in. Ooh, I got a little worried about that there. Here it is.
Yeah.
The template wasn't aligned yet, so not bad. Not bad, but Wampa coming in. He's going to be focused. He's going to be Palpatined, likely.
I would still.
Dash is probably going to take some damage here.
I'd still evade with Wampa because Palpatine's still
Oh,
alive.
fair.
Yeah.
Definitely evade.
But definitely do actions.
Yes. And here is the moment of truth. So with the
This is going to be so close.
With the backtracking, that this is going to be... It should be okay. Yeah, that was a bank. Okay, it's a bank, so he's all right.
All it needs is for one part of the base to get clipped off.
Yep. No, he's all right. Very, very close, though. Dash is not a happy camper. Like,
No.
I don't like you guys. I don't like you guys at all. But, so no shots into the Omnicron. Shots into Palpatine here.
It's kind of what he wants. No actions, though.
No, and again, he's still in the position where he can't outright kill Palpatine. You know, there's a shield on him. He still has 5 health. He has 6 health total. It's going to take you at least 2 turns to kill Palpatine.
And not with those dice.
No.
Let's see what he gets.
It's, honestly, if he's focused, I would spend it here.
Well, he's not because he's stressed, unfortunately.
And here it is. So 1 versus 1, and that is just a native evasion roll. So we're gonna have Wampa firing back.
Wampa's using Palp. Here we go.
Very likely. So there's Palpatine. Now let's see our comparator results. So you actually don't have to cancel. He just takes a face-up damage card here.
Oh yeah.
That's a direct hit. Oh
wow.
And again,
Wampa is getting, and Palpatine helping. They're getting work done. I don't know if they're on on the cell phone just calling out and like, hey, you need to fire exactly here, right here. Yeah, exactly there. Blam, direct hit. Oh, groovy.
And as you mentioned before, that versatility of at the start of the compare results, you know, Sylvain was able to see. All right, this crit's going through anyway. I don't have to cancel it. I'm just gonna deal you a crit.
Yeah. And right now, I'm pretty sure, depending on the damage cards, I can't exactly tell if it's...
Well, he's got 2 face down and the direct hit.
So he has 4. So he has 1 left. So all Wampa has to do is shoot at him. And if he has an evade token, and Palpatine is supporting defensively, you basically Dash can't kill Wampa. No. And if Wampa is able to fire offensively and get that crit in, he kills Dash, sealing the deal. Let's see how that works out. It might not work out like that, but oh man, if it does.
This is going to be tense. This is going to be tense. Now, where is Dash going? He's at a real awkward angle. He couldn't go straight there.
And he can't finish off Palpatine.
No, Palpatine has gone screaming the other way. Dash can engine upgrade to blast out of Wampa's fire range here.
And then just focus on the Rebel Captive?
Shoot the Rebel Captive here.
Yeah, it looks like he's doing just that.
So he can engine upgrade, he can barrel roll if he needs to, just wants to stay so far away from Wampa. Wampa right now, he's not killing Palpatine. Wampa is the death sentence for Dash.
Oh yeah.
And so he's got to focus here.
It is all coming to Emperor Palpatine's grand design.
It looks like so he's checking range to Wampa there. That was a very close one. It didn't quite catch if that was in range, but we'll see on Sylvain's turn.
I don't think so.
But this is shooting at
it's the Rebel Captive.
So, and that is some damage there. Woof, that was a big hit. But that shuttle still has 3 health left. So, half value of it to Shane. However, grand scheme of things, it's alright. And Wampa was in range.
There's the death sentence.
And there it is. Seals the deal.
Alright guys, well we have a couple of notes from our sponsors and then we'll get back to our final thoughts.
Hey Matt, did you know that Atlantic Canada has a new gaming and tournament center in downtown Fredericton?
Yes, John, I did. Actually, the video we just watched was recorded there. Tell you what, I'd do even better. Check out the website yet. You can go on there, order X-Wing stuff online, get it shipped to you anywhere in New Brunswick or Nova Scotia. You've even got more locations to come soon. It's metagames.com. You should have a look.
So you're telling me that I can go online and order a bunch of T-70s for the integrated astromech and it's going to get shipped right to my door?
Yeah, and once you got them, come on down Monday night. It's our free play night. Come in, meet all sorts of interesting people, nice big open play space. It's a really relaxing time. You should check it out.
That sounds awesome. What's the website again?
It's metagames.com, so metagames with a Z on the end of it.
Long live MetaGames!
Alright guys, welcome back. What an end of the game.
What a game!
What a stylistic end. That was beautiful flying. I think, we need to change the old expression from when pigs fly to when cows fly. And they did today.
Where's the beef? Indeed. That was absolutely glorious. As I mentioned before, seeing Sylvain with the 3 shuttle list, it was very interesting. He played it flawlessly as you can with shuttles. The sheer amount of planning, forethought, that kind of thing, using Wampa to your advantage, controlling the board, it shows. And Sylvain took victory here once again. Absolutely, totally his to take. And Shane's squadron is not just some kind of chump squadron.
It's not a pushover, no.
You got Miranda in there. Miranda at in March during the March and April and May during these store championships of the first quarter. Very, very powerful meta piece, especially with the TLT, shield regeneration, attrition, that kind of thing. Dash Rendar.
Always a good pilot.
Yeah, absolutely glorious.
Yeah, the heavy laser cannon dash, never a bad choice.
Oh no. I have some thoughts that the new heroes of the Resistance might give benefits to both the YT 1300 and the 2400. So it's gonna be interesting to see if Dash gets better when that comes out. But I'm just a huge fan of Dash. Super cool, Shadows of the Empire fan right here. So I'm just absolutely super impressed with this brutal game.
Very glad that was on camera. I'm interested to see if Sylvain brings this to regionals. I think this would be a very powerful piece to bring to regionals.
I think so too, especially when you consider that how the meta is going to be shifting once again once the Imperial Veterans comes out. Munitions are even more important, especially when you have the TIE bomber upgrades, all of that kind of thing, and then TIE defenders becoming a real centerpiece with that upgrade that they get there.
Upgrades,
yeah, absolutely. So very excited for what regionals are going to bring, and that's only in a couple of weeks for us.
Yeah, that's not too far away.
So if you're in the Atlantic Canada region, book July 30th. Come over to MetaGameZ in Fredericton and join us for regionals. That's going to be quite a lot of fun. And if not, well then expect us to be filming it and commentating on it for you.
Well, guys, as always, thanks for watching Wookiees on X-Wing. And be sure to like and subscribe. We've got Wookiees videos out every Wednesday.
We are part of the Northern Gaming Network. Be sure to check it out at northerngamingnetwork.com, where we have additional content for this game as well as others.
And John, where if they wanted to get a hold of us, how can they do that?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Corhath, but you can also find us at Northern Gaming Network. That's at NorthGameNet. Or you can like us on Facebook to keep up with our most recent news.
And we'll see you guys next week.